L'anglais est la langue mondiale des affaires. Aujourd'hui, près de 2 milliards de personnes dans le monde parlent anglais, c'est-à-dire 1 personne sur 4. Des entreprises du monde entier ont adopté l'anglais comme langue officielle et la vidéo d'aujourd'hui vous aidera à travailler en anglais dans un environnement professionnel. Notre professeur anglophone Chris nous guidera à travers certaines terminologies et expressions les plus importantes et vous fournira quelques bons conseils pour vous aider dans votre anglais des affaires. Il y aura également des exemples concrets que vous pourrez écouter pour travailler sur vos compétences en compréhension orale. Et justement, en parlant de compréhension orale, Chris parlera 100% en anglais dans cette vidéo. Mais des sous-titres en anglais sont disponibles pour vous aider. Et en plus, il fournira des traductions à l'écran des mots et expressions importants.
Hi everyone, welcome to this special video all about international business English. Now today's video has a few different things in it. Firstly, we're going to be looking at some special vocabulary that is very important for exporting and importing things. If this is maybe what you are going to be doing with your international business relations, there's some very important vocabulary to learn. Secondly, we're going to be talking a little bit about cultural differences. And thirdly, we're going to be listening to some real examples of 3 different accents with maybe a factory tour or a meeting, things like this. And we're going to be finding out some interesting vocabulary and expressions that could be used. Okay, it's going to be great practice for your oral comprehension. Okay, let's start now with the export and import vocabulary. Okay, so importing and exporting is obviously a very important component of international business. Now, there's some very specific vocabulary that you really should know, and I'm going to take you through that now. Let's start with, of course, customs. Now, obviously, this is important when you are traveling or when your products are traveling. So you need to know this particular word, customs. Of course, also tariffs or customs duties. Tariffs or customs duties. This is something that you must factor in when you're thinking about how much your product is going to cost you or how much you're going to be able to sell your product. You have to think about those tariffs or customs duties very carefully. Shipping container. A shipping container, obviously essential for sending something via the sea. Cargo. Cargo. Now this is what you are putting inside your shipping container. Cargo. An invoice. An invoice. A deadline. Of course, a deadline is very important. A deadline. When you are loading your shipping container, you need to give a bill of lading. A bill of lading. Now this is a special document that lists what is inside your shipping container and what is being sold or bought inside your shipping container. A supplier. A supplier. Are you the supplier or are you the buyer in this particular situation? A supplier. And of course, factory. Factory. Many multinational companies now have factories overseas. Overseas, à l'étranger. Overseas, we have factories overseas. Okay, so these were just a few words that were obviously very important. I would really recommend trying to study the vocabulary specific for your company or for your product. Obviously, I can't list them all here, but those particular 10 words that we just saw, they're essential for any industry. Customs was an interesting one. I personally have had a student before who told a terrible story about how he was mistaken when they were talking about customs. He thought they were talking about cultural differences, which is also, unfortunately, the same word in English. Customs. Customs and customs. They're the same. It's one of those special homophones. A word that has exactly the same sound, but different meanings. Now, customs, that is the cultural differences, is something that you should also study, of course, before you yourself travel or somebody comes to your company. Just a little example could be Taiwan, for example, a very, very popular country to set up factories in because it's quite cheap and they have very, very good technology in Taiwan. But there are a few cultural differences between Western society and Taiwanese society. And you should really study these before you go, of course. The small example from Taiwan is when you shake the hand, you never do a firm handshake. In America, for example, you do a very firm handshake. That's a sign of good business. But in Taiwan, it's a very soft handshake, and you do not look in the eyes of the other person. You look down. Don't look at the person when you shake their hand. So that's just a small example, but certainly wherever you are traveling, make sure you do a little Google search before you go to have a look at the customs of that particular country. I have 3 different countries with obviously 3 different accents, and we're going to listen to a short text from each country. Some of the text is going to be on the screen for you, and there will be some gaps for certain words or certain expressions. I'd like you to try and listen to the text and try and fill in those gaps for me. Okay? We're going to listen to each text 2 times, and after the second time, I will come back and I will show you the answers, and I will explain those missing expressions and words for you.
Okay, so now I will take you on a tour of our factory. Please put on this helmet, and here is some hearing protection too. The protective equipment is compulsory inside the factory. As you will see, our factory is in compliance with all safety standards. We work with the biggest union in the region, and our workers are all paid above award wages. They also receive bonuses for meeting production deadlines. Okay, so now I will take you on a tour of our factory. Please put on this helmet, and here is some hearing protection too. The protective equipment is compulsory inside the factory. As you will see, our factory is in compliance with all safety standards. We work with the biggest union in the region, and our workers are all paid above award wages. They also receive bonuses for meeting production deadlines.
Okay, so that was the first text finished. Do you know what country that particular text came from? What was the accent? It was from India. It was an Indian accent. Now, India is the second most populated country in the world and is a very, very common partner for international business. Again, there are a lot of factories being set up in India at the moment. So I thought we'd have a nice little text from India. And inside that text, there were some interesting words. Let's have a look at those words now that we're missing. Okay, so firstly, we have helmet. Helmet. This is, of course, the casque. Helmet. Compulsory. Compulsory. Now, you can also say in English obligatory, but compulsory is actually more common. Obligatory is very easy for a French person to understand because it is so close to the French word, but sometimes when people say compulsory, a French person doesn't understand. So it's important to know that particular word, compulsory. The safety equipment, helmet, etc. was compulsory. The next one, the safety standards. Safety standards. The union. Union. Some countries have unions, some countries do not. And the award wages. Award wages. Okay, so let's go and listen to the second text now. A very different accent again. in a completely different country. See if you can fill in the gaps for me, and maybe you could guess what country this particular text is from. Let's go to text number 2.
Welcome to our headquarters. I hope that you had a good trip. This is where our company started back in 1986, and it has now expanded into more than 40 countries throughout the world. Hopefully we will start in France soon with you. Would you like a coffee, tea, or a cold drink or something before we get down to business? Welcome to our headquarters. I hope that you had a good trip. This is where our company started back in 1986, and it has now expanded into more than 40 countries throughout the world. Hopefully we will start in France soon with you. Would you like a coffee, tea, or a cold drink or something before we get down to business?
Okay, did you guess the country? This particular country has a very strong American influence, and in general, the population speaks quite good English, even though it is not their first language. It was the Philippines in Southeast Asia, the Philippines. Now let's have a look at some of the expressions and vocabulary that were missing in that particular text. Okay, the first one, headquarters. Headquarters. Now, sometimes people say head office. It also means exactly the same thing. Or you could say headquarters, like this person did. A trip, un voyage, a trip. I hope that you had a good trip. Throughout the world, throughout the world. This particular company is spreading throughout the world. They are now in more than 40 countries. Get down to business. Get down to business. Now that's just a little expression that means let's move on to the serious things now. Let's get down to business. Okay, in the last text today, we're going to hear 2 different people talking, and again, it's a very different accent. Let's see if you can pick this one up.
I'd like to introduce you all to our CEO, Jack Mangan, who would like to say a few words before we start today.
Hello everyone, and thanks for coming. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's discussions, I'd like to just share some ideas with you. This is a company that is going places fast, and it's important in this journey that we take on the right partners to help us with our progression. We've done our research, and your firm has come out looking pretty good, and we think that you could be the ones. Commitment to work hard, to work fast, and to work well is what is seeing my company grow, and that is what I expect from any potential partners. We may be a small company today, but tomorrow the sky's the limit.
I'd like to introduce you all to our CEO, Jack Mangan, who would like to say a few words before we start today.
Hello everyone, and thanks for coming. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's discussions, I'd like to just share some ideas with you. This is a company that is going places fast, and it's important in this journey that we take on the right partners to help us with our progression. We've done our research, and your firm has come out looking pretty good, and we think that you could be the ones. Commitment to work hard, to work fast, and to work well is what is seeing my company grow, and that is what I expect from any potential partners. We may be a small company today, but tomorrow the sky's the limit.
I think that was the easiest country to guess, perhaps. It was, of course, the United States of America. Now let's have a look at the expressions and vocabulary that we heard in that particular text. The CEO. The CEO. This is the abbreviation of Chief Executive Officer. The big boss, the CEO. Now the CEO spoke about the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty. It's another way of saying the same expression we just saw before, down to business, the nitty-gritty, getting down to the details, the essential points, the nitty-gritty. Journey, journey. Now this is exactly the same as trip that we had before. It's a false friend for French. It is not a day, le journée, no. It's journey. It's a trip, un voyage. Firm, firm. Now this is another way of saying company or business. I have a small firm. Expect, a common verb used in the business world. I expect good results. I expect good work, etc. To expect. And the last one was a great expression. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. There are no limits at all. The sky's the limit. Okay, so we've listened to 3 different accents. We've learnt some perhaps new vocabulary and expressions for you. Perhaps they are the export and import vocabulary. But the other big part of international business is, of course, exchanging emails. Now, if you haven't done so already, I'd really recommend watching my first video from this series on communication, where I give you concrete examples that you could use in your own emails. How to start the email, how to make arguments in the email, how to finish the email, etc. I go through it step by step, and I'd really recommend just simply using those exact texts and changing just a few words here and there for your particular email. Then you know you won't make any mistakes at all. If you prefer, I also have an article on my website where you could simply copy and paste some of those same texts. I'll leave the link for the video and for the article in the description of this particular video. Now, that was the end of the international business video number 4, but this is a 10 video series all about business English. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can catch the next videos coming soon. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.